Welcome to No Todo Se Cura con Vex, your go-to destination for Latinas getting real with their healing journey. We are so thrilled to have you here with us today. First off, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our listeners. Your support, your loyalty mean the world to us. Without you, none of this would even be possible. We also want to take a moment to express how much your support matters. Every download, share, and like helps us grow and reach more people who might benefit from our content. So, if you enjoy what you hear today, I encourage you to hit that download button and share our episodes with your friends, your family, and anyone who you think might enjoy them. Your actions truly make a difference in helping us expand our podcast family. So once again, thank you for being a part of our journey with us. Let's continue to learn, grow, and explore together. Now, let's jump right into today's episode. Happy watching.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to No Todo Se Cura con Vex. I am Maggie.
I am Jessie.
And I am Heidi.
And we are back to pretty much talk about season 2. Season 2 has come to an end. And we've really switched season 2 up. We gave you so much, like a wealth of knowledge when we interviewed all the different people that, were so nice enough to come into the podcast and, share their knowledge and their story with us, and love sharing that with you guys. It wasn't a lot of us this time, but I think that we really did really good this season because we have some amazing guests.
Yes,
we have some amazing guests talking to us about different topics, about health. We did a topic about the theater, about writing, about, the kitchen and being a chef, and about grief, all these really good topics. And, I enjoyed doing season 2 and interviewing, everyone. And and we're glad to just have this episode kind of closing the season and thanking everybody that was part of the season that made the season so great.
Yeah, we received so much love from people. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you know what was amazing too about season 2 is that I think that we created a platform for so many Latinos that many times don't get this type of platform to share their knowledge, their gift, their passion. Sometimes we get so caught up with the people that are already making it and so big. And I think it was so beautiful for us to honor all of the amazing gifts that we as Latinos carry and create a platform for them.
I know, for them to share their own journeys, which we sometimes forget that you start from zero, not all these people that we interviewed. I love that they're able to be humble and share that it wasn't always easy, and almost give the people some type of hope that, whatever your craft is, you have time. It's never too late. And you definitely make mistakes like we have with this podcast.
It was a lot of resiliency.
Oh my God,
these episodes. And it's a lot of one thing that I took away is even though we're in 2014, I'm sorry, oh my God.
2014, girl.
Dios mío, si yo voy al doctor y le digo eso, y una vez me ponen en medicina. Jesus Christ.
Maggie, you have dementia.
10 years.
If I could get a little time machine to spend some time there, yo me voy ahora. But no, we're in 2024. And even though as Latinos, Dominicans, we've come a long way, we're still fighting for a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And I feel Dominicans specifically because, Latino culture is celebrated a lot. But I still feel Dominican seat, la Dominicanidad, is still not, as celebrated as it could be. And it's beautiful to see these Dominican for the most part, people, coming into our podcast and sharing their stories, and that it wasn't always easy, but they kept working and they're putting us out there, on the map. They're enhancing the culture. They're bringing awareness, like these Dominican people that are more than just wild and like to dance and party. Like, we're smart and we're creative and we're amazing people too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just also, for me, it was like embracing all the beautiful things that our communities have, and how wonderful we are as people. But it also brought into me that success is defined so differently. And sometimes we get caught up with what success mean in the American world.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Absolutely.
And we get caught up with that. And sometimes we forget to celebrate the success that is happening in our community.
Yeah. So you
And
have
we
to
need
shout them out.
Yeah, we need to embrace our amazing, talented people more.
And let me tell
So
you,
much more.
these people, each and every
Mhm.
one of them, broke barriers. They broke
Yes.
some cycles and probably were judged and looked at a certain way. And they, every one of them fought the fight. And I'm so proud of each and every one of these people because we're talking about them today. We can share these people with all of our peoples that are tuning in and viewing us and get a little bit of piece of what they went through and see that it wasn't always as easy. Because again, as Latinos, we're not celebrated enough. Sometimes there's a lot of criticism and a lot of este se cree que yo no sé qué, like, and it's not like that. All these people are so humble and beautiful in and out. So I'm glad that we are able to do that. And the very first person that I want to that we had on our first guest that agreed, we were so nervous. And thank you, Andy Martinez.
Oh my God, Andy.
Yes.
Andy was on our podcast. He is a creator. He does the sneaker boot, Andy Shoe. This guy I hold so dear and near to me because, again, he went through some obstacles. And the moment that he was like flourishing and people started recognizing him was one of the toughest moments in his life. And talking about resilience here, I am like in awe with everything that he does. Everything he touches becomes like a creation. He's so creative, so knowledgeable, and he has a gift. And not only like with his sneaker boot, but even his content on Instagram. I'm like, he is like so funny and adorable, and he can be in a novela. He's a very good looking guy. So yeah, my experience with Andy. But I think my favorite out of everything, besides of again what he was showing us, his sneaker boot, which is the Nike Uptowns with the cowboy boots. You guys got to see it. I'll put a picture on the display on YouTube. But it's an amazing, amazing sneaker boot. So check him out. But what I loved the most was his signature question. Oh my God.
That was the funniest answer to that question this whole season.
I love it. We asked Andy what is one thing about his Dominicanidad that no one can take away from him, even if he's living in a mansion somewhere. And he said, wash his underwear by hand. Lavar los pantaloncillos a mano.
A mano y ponerlo en el letín.
Para que se seque. Oh my gosh. When I tell you, that was an amazing
That was the funniest.
answer. It was the perfect way to end the episode, let me tell you.
Yep.
With Andy, for me, was, oh my God, he tapped into just being yourself, like just tapping into your authentic self and have no shame and no fear. Like he really was so powerful with that I felt like, yeah, like fuck it. I love fuck it, right? Like, and he like his stories, like I just showed up and I was like, yeah, this is what I do, and it is what it is. It was just so beautiful and powerful to hear a brown Dominican man just saying, I love who I am and I'm going to show up and I'm going to show you who I am, and you can love it and you can hate it, and that's okay.
That's okay.
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. I love that about him. I love, like, I'm pretty sure that, during his whole journey, there was fear there because that's normal. You're starting something new. Fear is not, it's normal. It's a good feeling. But the fact that he was able to like overcome it, and he was just like, I'm going to go with this, and, to like his family, it was like, oh, está haciendo lo que. He was like, no, like, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I love, and like, doing that and being true to that. I think that was beautiful.
Yeah. His just his aura in everything, and this is the way he's always been, and this is the way he is with everyone. And he really impacts a lot of people. Andy is phenomenal, and we wish him so much more success. He's literally doing his thing.
Yeah, he is.
And another person, OMG.
The second guest.
Our second guest that gave us an opportunity, talking about keeping it in the family and our family supporting us and being there for us, because we are super lucky to have an amazing family. Adam Lajara, OMG, our beautiful chef that is the most humblest and the most, God, is that a word? Humblest?
I don't think so.
Bueno. Ese un chulo, Papi Shampoo. He is the most amazing human soul alive. What a wonderful heart. And congratulations, Adam, on your new baby.
Yes, he's a daddy.
He's a daddy now. When he came on the interview, his boo was pregnant, and now they had the baby. And
they had the baby. That was the baby shower we talked about in one of our episodes. The Dominican baby shower.
The Dominican baby shower, dándose su look en todo el mundo. Mateo tenía que cambiarse bien y prepararse.
And we were like, oh my God, the next party that they do, pero ella ya tiene un baby. I don't know if there's a next party.
Bueno, vamos a ver. The first birthday. But Adam was phenomenal on our show. He talked about his journey in becoming a chef, how, he was scrutinized sometimes by even making con. And he showed, like, what it is, that how tough it can be, that industry. There's a lot of pressure, and getting out there and showing who you are in a competitive world of chef. He's made it so big in this industry, and he's become a private chef for many successful people. And to see our little Dominican, for me, my cousin, and for Maggie and Jesse, their nephew, is an inspiration, because as he described in his episode, ellos decían, este muchacho tan nervioso no debiera estar cocinando, Look at him now.
Se va a llevar 2 o 3 dedos.
They still say that? They'll be like,
they still do.
Ay. Si no te cansa. Se va a llevar los dedos. But it's so good that we had him, and he agreed to be in our podcast and share his journey.
Adam was great. It was nice to see Adam, because I feel like Adam is our nephew, Jesse and I nephew, but Jesse and I had different relationship with Adam, because Adam and I are very close in age. So Adam was like a little brother to me, right? And we used to fight and stuff like that. And to see how much like he's grown and how well he's doing, and it's I'm really, really proud of him, of who he's become, and it was really good to interview him and hear his stories, and have him remember how he would spend time with my dad cooking and with my mom, watching Chopped. And, I will remember them, doing all of that. So it was a really like heartfelt interview for me.
Yeah, it was. That's my first nephew. So, I've always had like a really strong connection with Adam, because he was my first nephew, the first boy in the family, because we didn't have boys until Adam was born.
That's
It was just
right.
my dad.
Yeah.
So he was the first boy. So there was so much joy. And then just to see him grow and become a man and be a business, have his own business and be a business owner as a young Dominican man was so it was I was full of pride and joy, but I also felt like his story, just like Andy represented for me authenticity, right? For Adam, I just felt like he is full. Like if you really want to know what resilience is, tap into his story, right? Like resilience, being able to overcome all of the challenges that he experienced in his career and his personal life, everything, right? And that he still was able to pick himself up and do what he needed to do, and still so confident and the love for the work and not giving up. He still is doing it now, and still remain humble too.
That's I think my takeaway with Adam. And I think and I'm going to say that with all of these beautiful souls that we interviewed, but Adam, no matter what, has always remained the same. Such a beautiful heart. And, is someone that suffered, he talks about it, suffered with anxiety. So even with all this fear, he will show up, like we said, in a very competitive workplace, where people yell at you, and he experienced it. He discusses that in the episodes where he's experienced people like the disrespect and stuff like that, and how certain chef would talk down at him or yell, and it's hard.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. I think he's so humble that I think he really needs to be a little bit, just embrace himself a little bit more. I wish he can celebrate himself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because he deserves this. He should throw a Adam's party.
I will be first in line. Si tengo que pagar $1,000 para entrar to Adam's party, I will go.
Just embracing Adam.
Yo dejo de ver a Bad Bunny para ver a Adam. Yes. And again, someone that we saw grow up, Adam used to come, un carajito chiquito, to my house to hang out and play games, because my brother and him are the same age. And I just seen him blossom into such a beautiful human being. So continue striving, sharing that beautiful light that you have already with those out there. I know you're inspiring young chefs out there, especially Dominicanos out there trying to make it. You got this. Adam did it. You got
this.
Our third guest, Angy. Angy.
I loved Angy.
That Angy es la prima from another mother.
Yeah, Angy's interview was...
La adoro a Angy.
Eso fue como una prima, como hablando con una prima.
That was such a good interview. It was easy. It was Angy's doing such great work.
What she does for our community.
Yes. I loved how vocal and raw she was about the bullshit that they put us through. I love talking to Angy.
Yes.
Now, her experience, her journey was very interesting, because she said herself, ella no creció con libro. And what she does, is she helps these Dominican writers. She has a Dominican Writer Association that she helps Dominican writers, promoting them and helping them, and in every way, shape, and aspect. She's raw.
She's raw.
She tells it how's it. She's not going to make you try to feel good. She's going to tell you, como lo dicen los dominicanos, no hay pelo en la lengua.
No.
She's going to let you know, but...
Para que te lo diga otra gente, te lo digo yo.
Sí.
She's like, yo no puedo dejarte que tú estés allí pasando vergüenza.
Yeah, she sounded like my mom when she said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No podemos dejarte pasar vergüenza.
Y es verdad, because that person is representing us, through their novels, through their books, through their illustrations, in every way, their stories, reflect us as well. But Angy, besides her amazing, gift of knowing how to help all these people, she also she has like an open door policy for her community. She hosts all these amazing workshops and gatherings and travels and holds so much space for young writers. Like, and I'm pretty sure the people. So, Angy, thank you from the bottom of our hearts, not only for agreeing to being in our podcast and giving us a chance, because she was the first person we interviewed that wasn't family.
Yeah, she
She gave us a
was.
chance.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
That was
so
Thank you.
much.
That was the interview we did the day of the baby shower.
I see. I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Que Jessie iba ahí con
Yes.
sus red heels. Yep.
Y me fui. Yes, that's so true. Yes. But Angie was amazing.
Yeah.
Like like I said, it felt like somos prima. Like when we hang out with our cousins, like, and we're just talking and we're just having a blast and we we're just talking the truth and feeling our feelings and processing at the same time. Like it was so beautiful. The one thing that I love about Angie that like we were saying that she's like so open and blunt, y te lo dice como te lo va a decir, is her reminding our community to support our people.
Oh,
And
yes.
because you know what? I love my community. I love them to death. But sometimes we do forget. Sometimes we do forget. And so she was, I so love for her to really tap into that and talk about why it's so important for us to honor our writers, our artists, our chefs, our everyone, right? Like there's so much talent happening in our communities that we sometimes don't really pay attention or we overlook.
We're too busy, promoting and helping people outside of the community, and show us support. We have to help each other instead of like bringing us down y criticando. Be there, show up to these events, show up for people, share, like, download.
De todo, hagan de todo. I'm so excited. We're all going to the Julia Alvarez event on April 3rd.
Yes.
Guys, support. This is an amazing Dominican writer.
Yes.
Support, get tickets and get to know us.
This woman, yeah. And that Dominican writer, Julia Alvarez, she is phenomenal. For those that don't know, check her out. Buy some of her books. Be there. There wasn't enough promotion for this book either, because again, we need more people out there reading.
Our books.
Our books. Yeah. Our fourth guest. Oh my goodness, this person is not only beautiful, she's gorgeous, but like her soul, her heart, her amazing acting and skills, are amazing. Maribel Martinez.
Hi, Maribel.
Maribel is a lovely.
I see.
Oh my goodness. She is
nice conversation. Her energy is so like cool and mellow and relaxed. And one thing that I loved about her is like she is putting our name out there and she is embracing who she is, like she says, with her big hair and
her big butt
and eyes. She's like, this is who I am, and she is not compromising herself. And that's a beautiful thing too. You don't find that a lot in that world,
No.
And her, she was great to have.
Yes, we went to see Maribel in her play Bees and Honey as a cousins
which
group.
Was amazing.
And when we saw her, of course, my cousin Marisol was like, you should have her as your podcast guest. And at the time, we laughed. we were like, ella no nos va a decir que sí.
And guys, during that time, the podcast was not out yet. We had not released our first episode either.
No.
Yeah, no.
So for her to say yes, for her to give us an opportunity, and for her to share her journey, you know, the ups and downs, living in one place, migrating, and putting herself out there. And again, she had to learn to set these boundaries in this industry where you are to look and play a certain way in order to be accepted. And for her to own who she is authentically, you know, and for us to see a woman like her play certain scenes that we can all resonate with, instead of looking at people that don't even look like us, it just gives me chills, you know, because I'm like, I don't remember growing up seeing too many people, especially and of course, then I saw people of color and I'm like, oh, you know, I can relate. But to see una dominicana, you know, out there, like you said, with her big hair, porque hasta el día de hoy me dicen, ¿y tú con ese pajón? I love that. I love that she shows up how she is. And I think that even makes her more beautiful. So,
Yeah.
Maribel,
Agree. Maribel.
The best to you. And I hope, like, again, that all these people that we get to see again in our podcast in the future, because we would love updates on you.
Absolutely.
Follow Maribel Martinez on Instagram. She's phenomenal. And she holds many workshops and she does a lot of different things. She's in many different plays. And shows on Peacock and, you know, Netflix. You do not want to miss it. She is,
you don't.
She's great. Talent.
Yes.
Then our fifth guest, it's these amazing sisters. Funny because this is our first episode where we were with another podcast.
And they were the first ones to invite us to be guests in their podcast.
Right? Isn't
that was so
dope?
Beautiful.
That was so
beautiful.
Dope.
Yeah,
Damaris and Nachi, they're part of a podcast called I'm Not Yelling, I'm Dominican. Isn't that dope?
That is. And and two beautiful sisters. They're sisters, and once again, just really also talking about their culture and talking about, you know, I think that their podcast also provides a lot of guidance in regards to different topics, like food and social justice. It's a couple of things they're doing a lot. But I think for me, the most beautiful thing was it felt so good to have Dominican podcasters come together, like with us, and support each other. I thought that was so beautiful. Like, we didn't know each other. We reach out, they welcome us. They're like, sure, you can come to our show and we'll go to your show. Like if we knew each other. And just support each other.
Which is what, so you know, it's all about that. I feel like showing love, and a lot of times it's all about competition, you know, and criticism, and for them to just be so okay. And they were okay with any topic. And let me tell you, yes, we had like a little guide, like our little, you know, run through of what we're going to talk about. We just, it felt like that was not even like needed, because it felt like we've known each other forever. Such cool, beautiful sisters. Check them out. They're doing amazing things. Some of their podcasts also talks about music, and you know,
they have so many different topics that is so good to hear.
Yeah, they have good topics about, you know, the culture, about health, about food,
and a lot of stuff.
Yeah, dating.
Yes. But having that podcast about our upbringing and dating, it was like, once again, talking to primas.
Yep.
You know? And just cracking up in our upbringing and our parents. Like, that was the first time I realized that my parents had a social life better than mine. We started talking about all the gatherings when we were little kids.
Was and like you said, resonating. You don't know each other. You haven't really, talked to each other ever. And for them to be like, the kids were sleeping on top of the bed encima en todo lo co, en todo lo party. Like, oh my God, we did the same thing. Like, it's so amazing to have people that you can listen to that resonate with you. So yeah, definitely check out these. They're just so amazing. They're very down to earth, and you would love their topic. I'm not yelling. I'm Dominican. Damaris and Nachi, thank you again for all that you do. Continue sharing your light. Now, our next guest, Jennifer, Dr. Jennifer. Oh, wow. Our health guru. This woman is like, what doesn't she know? I feel like Jennifer should just live with me and just like guide me through life. Like, she is so knowledgeable.
Very knowledgeable.
I really enjoyed this episode because there's a lot that I didn't know. Even though I've spoken to her, I went to she's an acupuncturist and health medicine, doctor, Chinese medicine doctor, and she talks about all our organs and how everything's connected. My takeaway with Jennifer is just wisdom. She is one of the wisest people I think I've ever met in my entire life. And she just like, every time I speak to her, it's like a different thing that I learn. How about you ladies? What was your takeaway with Jen?
This was such a good, juicy, full of information episode that it was our second 2-part episode. We had our Jennifer part 1 and Jennifer part 2. And it was really good. I've been seeing Jennifer for a very long time. And she is just a wealth of knowledge, in terms of energy and, Chinese medicine. And it's so, you talk to her and you learn so much, she gets deeper about things. And I think it's really important. It was really important to have her on the podcast because, we don't understand that we are so much more than a physical body, but we don't know, a lot of us, that, we're so much more than a physical body. Like the physical layer is that first layer that we're more connected to because it's the one that we can feel. But that we have, our emotional body, we have our mental body, our energetic body, we have our soul. And, certain things can start out in these bodies, more like these more subtle bodies that we are less connected to, and then eventually can start manifesting in our physical body. And I think she did such a good job of like explaining that and explaining the connection between certain organs and certain symptoms and certain things. And it was so really, really good to have her.
It was. She's amazing. Like Heidi said, like I would if I was to be rich and have like guest houses, I would have Jennifer living with me in one of the guest house. I have my trainer, my coach living with me, and I have my therapist living. Jennifer is definitely in there.
Yes.
Para sentarme con ella, tener un cafecito y hablar.
That's great. And I'm going to say something. It might be like old dark humor, whatever. Take it as whatever you want. I don't care. I saw this, like, how do you call it? A GIF or meme? I don't know. On Instagram.
Yeah, like meme.
And I send it to like all my mom friends. And it goes, when you're feeling mom guilt, just remember that this panda gave her kid up for an apple. It was like a panda, and she's holding like her baby, and someone gives her like an apple, and she just like, bye baby, and they took her baby. And I'm like, and I go, wow, that's interesting. But now I'm like, if they're like Jennifer or the kid, I'm like, wait, Jennifer, welcome to my home.
Yes. I totally agree.
Yes.
She
She is
has,
so full of knowledge.
and it's the way she describes things and the way she speaks about like the
Mm-hmm.
connection, like you said, to your body, the outside body, the spiritual world. How everything is so connected. A lot of it has to do with stress and trauma we've been through in the past. So she helps not only through acupuncture, but let me tell you, those conversations when you first sit down with her are phenomenal. There's so
Yes.
much that we unpack, that you
Yeah.
are not even you can't even, you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
damn, okay, this makes sense now.
And I think that us three, we decided to have Jennifer in our podcast because the knowledge and what she does is so important in our community. So many of us are walking around with past trauma. We're feeling it in our body. We're feeling it in our relationships, how things are turning out. We're feeling it in our lives. And we either don't know what's happening or we at times get very scared of the work.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why we decided to really invite Jennifer so that there is, if you can relate to what I just said, listen to that episode because that
Mm-hmm.
episode is going to really open up to the idea of you and how you view healing and what you can do to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You deserve to live a healthy life. You deserve to live a happy life. It is possible.
Yeah.
So please make sure you listen to that episode.
It's a 2-part, but it's not even going to feel like it, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And amazing questions and answers that you want to, and then you can start small. It's a lot to unpack, but you can start small and say, okay, yeah, just one little change can
Mm-hmm.
help.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, you can find her on Instagram, also in her website. It's all going to be on the show notes, guys, so you can check out all these episodes. um Another guest we had, she is not only freaking hilarious, I think she's so adorable. She is someone that I went to school with, in elementary, PS84. But this amazing soul, she is an author for children's books, and she went through heck of a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Putting herself out there. Um, People sometimes didn't even believe in this amazing craft, and how
Mm-hmm.
she's changed so much for our community. We can finally find children's books that speak about a lot of things that we grew up knowing. And when I was a little girl, there was no books, especially in the United States, that represented our culture. So some of her books are just amazing. As a matter of fact, Maggie just read a book to her son, in one of her books that she wrote. But my takeaway with Luz is, when she was describing, her journey and why she made the decision to write books. My daughter at one point, wasn't really interested in her Dominican culture. She was a little girl, and I remember how upset I was when she said she didn't want to speak Spanish in front of other people. And when she described her and her journey with her daughter and what pushed her to write this book, I thank her because she opened up the door for other parents to buy these books, and she does phenomenal work out there. She has workshops, she helps people out all the time, and she goes everywhere. So check her out. What's your takeaway, guys?
Luz was really good to have, and having Luz in the podcast, it really made me realize how important it is to have those children's book, because I think that, like I mentioned in her episode, as first generation, we're really close to the culture because our parents are the culture, and they, so we're really close to it. But even us ourselves, as we get older and we experience life, like other friends, high school, college, we start to like experience more this, American culture. And, when we have our kids become more and more Americanized. Like as you become, second generation, third, fourth,
Mm-hmm.
you become more Americanized and the culture starts to like fade a little bit. And having these like books, it's really good. Like when I read, Mateo, her book about the dancing, he was really into it,
Mm-hmm.
and he asked questions and, he really enjoyed it, when we read like, another book about like, Habichuela con Dulce, he is like waiting for my mom to get here because he's like, I need to try these sweet things.
Mm-hmm.
Try this
Mm-hmm.
candy. And it's something that like I've never, spoken to him about. So it's like it's teaching him about the culture in a fun way, in a kid way that really like helps, it makes him like wonder and like want to try things and it's very, I think it's so important to have these books out for like parents like us that are trying to keep that culture alive with their
Mm-hmm.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I learned so much. She has so much knowledge in regards to writing, and her experience also was beautiful. I think that even her reason, right, why she decided to go ahead and do these books, just just says a lot once again about the people in our community and how much we care for our community and our children. And she realized that this was something that our community needed. And I think it's true. I think our children, which for most of us, they're second generation, if you don't tap into that culture, if you don't tap into where we come from, who we are, it gets lost,
Yeah.
completely lost. And kids struggle with then identity issues. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
I wish those books were out when I had my kids, when I had
Me
my
too.
boys. I
Mm-hmm.
really did. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think that also like with my youngest son, like still young, trying to figure out sometimes his identity and where he belongs, right? And I think that if we would have had those books and even the workshops that she offers, it would have helped tremendously, right?
Yeah.
So it's so important, the work that she's doing. And she's so, the thing that I loved about her is that you can tell that she's so passionate about the work. She
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
She has a full-time job,
Yes, a
and
full-time
she
job.
has 3 children. She has a
Yeah, and a
full
husband.
life to take care of.
Hmm.
But this passion is like every time she talked about writing, you just sensed how much
Hmm.
this, and this is
She
something
loves it.
she discovered as an adult,
Yeah,
so it's never too late, guys.
never too late.
To tap into these different things that come up. And you're like, oh, and ay, yo estoy muy vieja para eso. No, not at all. So thank you, Luz, again for taking the time to show up for us and share your journey. And for those that are interested in writing, I really recommend you check out her website and check out Angie's website. They actually work together.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's amazing. And our last guest for season 2 was Carlos. Carlos is a grief therapist. He is, oh my gosh, Jesse and Carlos are good friends and they've worked together and they share their journey together and how they met. But I love this episode so much because it really it really showed how much we have to work on breaking cycles when it comes to grief, for the Latino community.
Hmm.
And he also shares a lot of tips on what to do, how to start conversations, um, and how many different stages there are to grief. And this is stuff that we don't talk about, even though it happens every day. This is something that we cannot avoid. But at least learning how to self soothe and how to accept where you are. And I love when he said, name it, name this
Hmm.
feeling once you name it, you recognize it, and it's easier for you to deal with it. And I learned a new term, which is froze. The person's frozen. They froze in the feeling they're in, and you have to work on that. We have to work on all these feelings because they show up in different ways. You could get sick. So I love that you invited Carlos and that he accepted this invitation, because I like what we do by sharing all these people and people like learning. I've learned so much. What's your takeaway, guys?
Yeah. You know what? I think I need another guest house because Carlos will also need another guest house.
Esa casa va a ser una mansión.
Ya tengo 4 guest house.
4 guest house. Si yo no puedo caber esa gente en mi guest house, I'm going to go visit you all the time.
Having Carlos was great. Carlos does really good, much needed work for our community, because grief is a complicated thing that not a lot of people understand, not a lot of people support, a lot of people just want to rush through, and you cannot ignore grief. Grief will follow you until you're like, until he's like, you're like, okay,
oh my God, yes.
Right? My favorite thing was that when he said it, and he said this, in a joking way, pretty much, the steps of grief are una porquería.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not that they're not valid. Like, you do go through these things, but it's not like, okay, I'm grieving. So it's 1, and then 2, and then 3. It's like, you might do, acceptance, and then be sad, and then be angry, and then go back to, angry, and then go back to, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It isn't linear, like he said it.
Yeah. I think that once people understand that, it'll be easier to, deal with the grief and process that grief feeling.
Right. And he did say, another piece that I loved was the steps of grief. He mentioned it was created by a Sweden man that does not know anything about the Latino culture and the Latino community.
And it was like back in the 60s.
In the 60s, yes. And we still hold on to the way that we should be processing grief. And I love the way that pretty much he just said, grief is just accepting it, that you're going through it, that it's healthy, that you should go through it, that the fact of you saying, no, I'm good, I'm fine, is more worrisome than saying, I am freaking sad and I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And how to allow families to support you. Like breaking the cycle. Yeah. How they can support you, right? Like how to break that cycle, that we need community to start grieving, that we shouldn't do it alone. And that was so beautiful, because in our community, we tend to believe we got to deal with things alone.
No, and we always got to be strong.
Yeah. And then I got to think about the awareness that we in our community, we live in a community of silence, of
avoidance.
We don't talk about things, avoidance, and how hard it is to give people emotional support when you don't even know what that looks like. It was a really good episode. It was a really, really good, and really good.
Everyone should listen to it, even if you're not going through loss, because we're all going to experience it. That's another thing. Like he explained, like loss is not just somebody passing away. There's just so many different ways of losses that we don't take in consideration. Like when we talk about breakups, boyfriends, girlfriends, marriage, that is a loss.
And we go through grief. We grieve.
When you lose a friend, like there's no more, the friend is still here, but the friendship is not. The person is here, but the friendship broke for whatever reason. That is a loss. You grieve.
And that's a great loss, because one of the things is like, okay, you learn to accept when a person passes, along, and their physical body is no longer here, but, it's almost like there's some sense of like, okay, this is, I'm losing this person and I'm not getting them back. But when you know that the person's physically still around and alive, um, and knowing that it's just, you're just not with that person anymore,
Yeah.
whether it's a friend or a romantic relationship, no matter how it looks like, it's so, it's as, it's a different version of pain, but
Of
it's
pain.
still, you
It's
know,
still
we
loss.
should never
Mm-hmm.
discredit that it's, you're going through it. You still can,
Mm-hmm.
you know, be in grieving stages.
Yes.
But he is phenomenal. I
He
really
is.
enjoyed having Carlos.
Yes.
Check him out. Again, I'll put his information on the show notes. But we wanted to take this time to thank all these beautiful guests. They all touched our hearts.
Oh
We
my
are so
God, yes.
grateful
We
that
learned
they
so
came.
much from them.
Mm-hmm.
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 It
Yeah.
wasn't just interviewing, it was learning from them and really tapping into their beautiful energy. Like every time I was done interviewing one of our guests, I felt empowered.
Me too.
Mhm.
Me
Mhm.
too, because they showed
Mhm.
like how human they are. You
Yeah.
know, how and what I love the most is how authentic they all show
Yes.
up. They're all so
Mhm.
different, but they're all like, I loved every single one of their deliveries and what they have to offer and their craft.
Their
So,
craft. Yes. So ladies, what's to expect season 3? What are you guys are thinking about doing?
Season 3 is going to be good. We're going to have a mix. You know,
mhm,
we're not going to tell you everything because, you know, why would we do that?
we can't give
But
you it all.
we're going to have a mix. We're going to keep bringing amazing guests with a lot of knowledge and wellness and mental health and, you know, parenting and so many different areas so that we can continue to, you know, learn more and share all of this knowledge with our listeners.
Mhm.
But you're also going to get a lot of us and our stories and our topics. And we're going to have amazing topics with just all 3 of us about so many good things like,
Mhm.
you
What
know,
about insane?
food, religion, spirituality, money, a whole bunch of stuff. And it's
Yes.
going to be a really, really good season. And you're going to love it. And, you know,
Yeah.
we always say, how can you support us? By sharing
Yes.
this podcast, share it with your friends, with your coworkers, with your family. Download, share, review, you know, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and, you know, help us grow. And we have this little thing called Buy Me a Coffee, right?
Mhm.
And we don't need coffee. We can buy our own coffee.
Yo tengo
It's just a
bucelo.
cute name to ask our listeners to donate to us because it takes more than time to keep up with the podcast. Like we have to pay for equipment for us and our guests. We have to pay,
Subscriptions for platform. Mhm.
yes, for the
Mhm.
platform to put the podcast out there. We have to pay, you know, to use Riverside to, you know, edit our podcast and other things that we
So
use to
many
be
things that happen
able
behind closed, like
behind closed doors
Behind the
that
behind the
we
scenes.
need
curtains.
support with. And that's what Buy Me a Coffee is for, is to help support the podcast grow. $5, anything that your heart, you know, como dice mami, when she's asking for, you know, money for
Church
the church.
donation.
Lo que Dios te ponga en tu
En tu
corazón. And
corazón.
then she'll be like, but you know, like $50. But like, really, Dios ponga en su corazón. And we will really, you know, really appreciate it because we love sharing our story. We love bringing this to you guys. We love entertaining you. This is a great time, but we do need
Yes.
those little, like a little help just to
We
continue
need
to grow.
support. We need
Absolutely.
support
Yeah.
in every aspect. It's just like what I was saying before. Like all of these people that we interview, these are amazing people that are doing amazing things in our community and representing us every day. Every day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we just get caught up with the people that are all the way up here, the people that are probably not in our community. and giving them so much prop. Don't forget about your peoples,
Mm-mm.
right? The ones that are
Mhm.
really working hard and trying to bring something to the community. This is your platform. We're here
Yeah.
to talk. Yes, we talk about our experiences and all, but we're also here to create a safe space for you to listen to different topics that are not really discussed with our families or in our communities. And so, yes, buy us a coffee, but also review. Let us know how this podcast is impacting you. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? What would you like for us to
Mhm.
do, like more in regards to interview and topics? Let
Mhm.
us know so that we can create this platform for you. If you don't talk, if you don't speak, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
So this is a moment to start practicing honoring and also not honoring, but also supporting those individuals in your community that want to make a difference. Don't
Yeah.
forget about us.
Don't forget about us. And like we
Mm-hmm.
said before, download makes such a world of a difference to our podcast. It it becomes more accessible to other people. It's and the more you share, the more you download, the more we are able to build from here. So don't forget to download. We also have our YouTube page, so you can check us out live. You can see who we look like and the people that we interview. I'm pretty sure you want to put a face to the voice. Season 3 is coming out in May, so be prepared for our amazing shift and change. Some of it will remain the same, but some of it will be different. So we need to keep it interesting for you guys. And I hope you continue following and sharing and loving us. If you know of anybody too that you think would benefit from being interviewed, that you value and is Latino or anybody, first generation from any culture, let us know. We'll shout them out. It's all about loving and caring and showing support.
Amen.
Until next time, guys. Thank you again for
Adios.
listening.
Thank
See you in
you.
Bye.
season 3.